Okay.
Bonnie, it's really good to see you.
It's so good to see you, Rod. And I have to tell you, first off, congratulations. This movie is beyond outstanding. I've already watched it twice.
Oh, good.
And honestly, I cannot wait until I get the opportunity to see it on the big screen where you intended. But for
Yes.
now, we have to see it where we can get it.
I know it's a bummer.
It is, but you know what? I think a lot of people will watch it. There's no question. And first thing I want to ask you, being a West Point graduate and being in the military yourself, I can't imagine that even when Jake Tapper's book came out, this wasn't something maybe on your radar.
Well, it certainly became an instant part of sort of American military folklore.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody knew that it was the bloodiest battle of the Afghanistan war. And there are a few candidates for such a thing, but also the most heroic battle of the Afghanistan war. 2 men received the Medal of Honor. And so, yeah, it was definitely on my radar. And, you know, a few years later, I was approached by Sam Raimi, who was the director of it. He dropped out of directing, wanted to produce it, and asked me to come aboard. Yeah. And eventually he dropped out as producer as well for, you know, I just don't know why. I'm not on the inside baseball of that. But I was very eager to get to it and to tell the story as best I could.
And then once you get yourself the script and you look at it, and you're probably thinking, this is probably going to be the most important film I'm ever going to make.
Oh, that is absolutely accurate. And it's very important to me for many, many reasons, Bonnie. And, but I think that the strongest of it is that I'm telling you a true story. And there are several men who survived this battle, which explains why it's the most heroic battle. But also there were several men who fell in this battle. Yeah. And I owe it to the Gold Star families to get this right, you know, and the pressure on all of us to not screw it up, to tell the story accurately, to properly portray these kids. And they're very young people.
Yeah.
Extremely important. Boy, I'll tell you, when, you know, we showed the film to the Gold Star families, and Jake Tapper and I were both, you know, very stressed by how they would react to it. But they reacted with a lot of graciousness and a lot of gratitude, and which is what we have toward them as well.
And not only that, Rod, but you also, a couple of the guys who served in that battle are in your film. I mean, one is one of the stars. I can't even imagine for you, and you know, you talk about responsibility and pressure and everything, but to have them there and to have their firsthand accounts and to make sure that you get it right.
Yeah, that was really, really significant, Bonnie. And not only did we have them there to have us get it right, but nobody was none of the actors, none of the crew, nobody was going to complain, nobody was going to whine, nobody was going to do anything while these, you know, people who live this thing right there, and like, oh, you know, it's a little late for lunch, or I'm a little cold, or you know, I'm tired. That was never going to happen on this movie. Everybody toughed this thing out like you can't begin to imagine.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tell me a little bit about that, because everybody in this movie is so good. Scott Eastwood, Caleb. Oh my goodness! I mean, he just blew me away.
Yes. Caleb Landry Jones, who plays Ty Carter, one of the recipients of Medal of Honor, in my opinion, is worthy of the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice Award. You know, right across the board. And, you know, it's such and same thing with Scott Eastwood and Orlando and many of the cast. But Caleb is the guy who is furthest away from the guy that he's playing. When I first, you know, people who don't know who Caleb was, he was in the movie Get Out.
Yes, he's so good.
And he was in 3 Billboards. And, and when I first met Caleb, I was at Mel's Drive-In he hadn't gotten a job yet, in Los Angeles. And he was skinny like that skinny guy from Scooby-Doo, you know, I forgot his name, and
Shaggy.
Yeah, that's right. And he had hair down to his ass, and you know, and let's just say that he was sort of celebrating the legalization of marijuana, and when I sent him to, but I knew when I sent him to meet Ty Carter, Carter calls me and he goes, "Is this guy going to go to the gym?" I mean, because Ty's a studly guy.
Yeah.
But you know, I knew that he didn't have the physical resemblance and he didn't have the life experience. One thing I knew about Caleb, instinctively as a director and watching his few performances, he's one of the best actors in the country.
Yeah.
And not only that, here's something that's not widely known, is that his brother was a Marine who lost both his legs in Iraq. And his brother told him, "You're going to do this movie.
Wow.
You're not going to screw it up." And Caleb was like, "Yes, sir." You know, and his brother actually came to Bulgaria where we shot and was there as what I would call a presence in Caleb's life there.
That's unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty great.
Amazing. Yeah. You know, like I was saying, each one of them were amazing. But it was a long journey for you, Rod, to get this movie made, and a lot of obstacles that you had to face getting there as well, you know, personal and also with the film. You know, from Scott Eastwood breaking his ankle, you know, to just the surroundings of where you had to be. At the end of the day, what was the biggest challenge for you to get it going?
Well, you know, it is, you know, an RPG is a rocket-propelled grenade, and in battle, you always yell RPG, you know, when the RPG is coming at you. Yeah. And we felt like we had cinema RPGs coming at us all the time, from the budget being as small as it was, and cut here and there, and to not being able to have the extras that we needed, and having to figure out how to get those guys in there. And yes, Scott Eastwood breaking his leg in such a physical role was not an easy thing to deal with. I had to refigure the entire schedule. And I think that what you were getting to with the personal stuff is that, my son died while I was making this movie.
I'm so sorry about that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty terrible, Bobby. But it was during what we call preparation, and I flew from Bulgaria to Michigan, where he was lying in a bed, unconscious, hooked up to all these machines, and his mom and I, we undid, we pulled the plug, is what you say, I guess. And Hunter spent 20 minutes dying in front of her eyes, and my daughter said to me, "You know what, Dad? I know that you don't feel like going to make a movie right now, and I get it, but you have to go make this one."
Yeah, for him, he would have loved to. He would have loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely would have loved it, but you see, he was 27, and he was the same age as these men when they died, and I felt a kinship with the Gold Star families then, and they really got behind me, and that's what I mean, where I couldn't let them down.
Yeah, no.
You haven't. I really understood. My son was just taken from me. He died of a blood clot. So he died just suddenly. One day he was here on the phone with him, everything was great. And the next day he's not on this earth anymore. And it was brutal. But I will say that cast and that crew and that studio and my producers and my writers, they were just like roaring behind me.
Yeah.
And bless them for that,
Instant family and yeah. I'm sure, making this, Rod, you're probably a changed man, I would think.
I am not a changed man. I understand the man that I am, though. Extreme situations reveal the man. And, we find out, and this was true of everybody on the crew body, we find out what we're capable of.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When we're there, and we had many obstacles, many obstacles, but the desire to get this film made and to get it done right was so overwhelming. When I had my son's photo up on that monitor, right, and the monitor is we call it Video Village, and that is where the actors come and the crew comes to talk to you or to complain.
Yeah.
I'll say, whatever,
Yeah.
And people came, they saw Hunter's photo and they said, "Yeah, I'm going to go back out there, boss."
Yeah.
And you know, I cannot tell you how much they rallied for me. Nobody was going to let the families down. Nobody was going to let down the soldiers who were there down.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody was going to let Hunter down. Nobody's going to let me down. And the end result is, I think, the best film that I've ever made. But I do want to stress something, Bonnie, which is that this is, although this film deals with a very extreme battle, this is not a morose film.
No, not in any way. I was going to get there for sure. Yeah, it really isn't. It's all, you know, it's so about it, not just this film, but when you know, listen, I'm Canadian, and thank God, you know, my kids didn't have to go to war, or, you know, or anything like that, and they didn't have that option, and I thank God every day for their safety. And listen, my boy's the same age as Hunter was, and I think about that, and I go, you know, you watch these guys, and yes, they're actors playing soldiers, but you really get that sense of family and camaraderie, and what it's all about when you do have to go to war. And this is your family.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think any of those guys would make the comparison with actual soldiers, but what we can make the comparison with is people with a vested interest, and that people that have to count on one another.
Yes.
And that really, you know, everybody who died in this battle died trying to save somebody else. And these guys, you know, they all realize that they're all part of the same cog, and any one of them goes bad, and we all go bad. But, you know, ultimately the film, you know, the battle sequence, which, you know, runs almost 40 minutes, is, you know, I believe it's very immersive and very intense. And at the end of the film, despite what you've seen, I think that we are inspired by the American soldier.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, there are other soldiers in other countries that got great spirits. Like the Canadian soldier is, anybody will tell you that they'd fight with those guys anytime, as we have.
100%. Yeah.
The American soldier, you know, bless him, man. You know, I was one of them, and I'm going to stick by him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, just quickly, I wanted to ask you about that battle scene, because you're right. Yeah. I was like, you know, I did not move, honestly. It just got me that the choreographing of it and the detail, spectacular. I mean, how long did something like that take?
Well, shooting the movie, we didn't have a lot of time. We had about 30 days, give or take. But I rehearsed the hell out of those battle sequences, and we really had to, because as you can see, we did them as a series of oneers. Yeah. Meaning we didn't have cutaways. We didn't have that luxury at all. Plus, I thought it would be a much more immersive way to present the battle.
Sure.
But, you know, I'm a military guy. I had a lot of military people on set with me.
Yeah.
And we were able to be, you know, extremely efficient in how we shot the movie, and also how we prepared for it. And boy, like I said, those actors, nobody was going to fail. Nobody was going to wuss out. You know? There was one scene where we had these two soldiers, one played by Landry Jones, the other by Hank Hughes, who plays a character named Brad Larson, and they do a stretcher run at the end of the film. And at the end of every take, Hank threw up.
Wow. Well,
you know,
yeah, I don't get it.
He's going through all the smoke, and he's going through all the energy. I'm surprised he had that much food to throw up, but he kept throwing up. And it just is a testament to, you know, how much people put into this.
And, you know, I just wanted to just lastly mention, because we're going to have to wrap in a few minutes, but I love that you have a lot of second generation actors in this film. You know, you've got the Eastwood, Jagger, like Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall's son, you know, James Jagger. You've got Milo Gibson. These guys, they're not, resting on their laurels of their names. They're good actors.
You're not done yet, Bonnie.
I know I'm not done. There are more. There are. There's an Attenborough. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Attenborough's grandson's one more.
Okay. You know what? Okay, I'm missing it then. Who was the last one? I'm missing it.
His name is Scott Alda Coffey.
Okay.
Alan Alda's grandson.
No kidding.
He plays the role of Scusa.
That's Scusa. Wow.
And you know, Alan became a good friend of mine because I made 2 movies with him, and I regard him as one of the great actors in the history of.
Yes, he is.
And so yeah.
Yeah.
We could sell the movie just on those names.
But it's, but like I say, they're not resting on the names. They're all fabulous. The next generation, it's so good to see. Listen, Rod, honestly, I don't know what else to say other than best of luck with this. We cannot wait to see you at the Critics' Choice Awards when they happen. I think next March now.
When they happen, and it would be nice to be there with this film.
Oh, you'll be there with this film. I can guarantee that from my end. That is for sure. But thank you so much for your time and for talking about this. And happy 4th of July to you and your family. And best to you, Rod. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Bonnie.
All right, take care. Okay, bye bye.